From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, May 3rd. A mostly cloudy start to the day, but the clouds are going to dissipate as we go into the afternoon hours with a mostly sunny and warmer afternoon. Winds are going to stay breezy through the first half of the day, then die down as we get into the evening hours with the highs getting into the upper 50s to low 60s. Indianapolis police say they have found the missing 7-month-old at the center of a statewide Amber Alert. IMPD sent out a tweet at 11:30 last night that officers had found Jackson Sugars safe. It all began around 7:30 last night. Police say Sugars' mother had parked her vehicle outside a home on West Washington Street with a boy inside. That's when officers say a female suspect stole the car and the child. Police say the mother waited 15 minutes to alert authorities and are now trying to figure out why. No word on an arrest. In your vote 2023, the main players are set in the race for mayor of Indianapolis. Jefferson Shreve won the Republican primary, and incumbent Joe Hogsett once again got the Democratic bid. Both Shreve and Hogsett are already looking ahead to the general election now. Last night, in their victory speeches, crime appeared to be the big issue for November.
I'm proud that our 3-year, $150 million anti-violence initiative is powered by neighborhood leaders. Not special interest groups who come into town only to turn around and leave again. And we're working to keep out of the hands of our young people the guns, not put more guns out on the streets.
I think that the front and center message that we've got to turn around and fix day one is that safety issue and that criminal challenge that we have here in Indianapolis. So people care. We know we've got to fix that before we can go on to the bigger and more joyful work of growing and building this city.
Shreve survived a 4-way primary, beating candidates Abdul Hakim Shabazz, James Jackson, and John Couch. He consistently held out about 2/3 of the Republican vote, and the Indianapolis Republicans group formally nominated him for mayor after the primary. Shreve told supporters that defeating Joe Hogsett in November will be a tall order and that he'd like to potentially bring Shabazz and Jackson on board in the administration, either in a formal or informal capacity. As for Hogsett, he dominated last night in the Democratic primary. He got nearly 59% of the vote. His closest rival was State Representative Robin Shackelford, who got 37% of the vote. She conceded to Hogsett, and he says the two will now become allies in the general election. During his speech, Hogsett painted himself as the opposite of Shreve. He also says if he wins in November, it would be his last term as mayor of Indianapolis since taking office in 2016. And while all eyes are now on Hogsett and Shreve, we should point out that the field for November is not completely set yet. Independent and third-party candidates have until early July to get on the ballot. 3 Marion County school districts will receive tax increases after voters approved the district's referendums. Voters approved IPS's $410 million Rebuilding Stronger plan with a 58% to 42% vote. The district must still convince voters to pass a second $413 million referendum to pay for school operations. In a statement sent to Wish TV, IPS Superintendent Alicia Johnson thanked voters for their support. It read in part, "I am so grateful to the community for their generous support of our students, our staff, and our schools. Their support of our capital referendum means IPS can rebuild stronger and immediately get to work on projects across more than 20 schools from design to construction starting this year, so that every student who walks through our buildings feels valued and loved, knowing that something joyful and important happens inside those walls." School districts in Speedway and Warren Township also approved referendums to support school operations. Sue Finkham has the inside track to be the next mayor of Carmel. She defeated Kevin Woody Ryder and Fred Glenn for the Republican nomination. Finkham is a 3-term member of the Carmel City Council. Some see it as an upset. Ryder had the endorsement of Jim Brainerd, who's been mayor since 1996. Finkham is set to face Miles Nelson in November. He ran unopposed for the Democratic nomination. Carmel has never elected a Democrat for mayor. Scott Willis has won the Republican nomination for mayor of Westfield. He beat Jake Gilbert by less than 251 votes. Kristen Berkman received the fewest votes. Democrats did not run a candidate in the primary. Andy Cook has been mayor since 2008, but is not seeking a 5th term. In Lawrence, Deborah Whitfield will be the Democratic nominee in the race for mayor. She beat Sean Denny by a landslide. In November, Whitfield is set to face David Hoffman, who is unopposed on the Republican ballot. James Kaufman is the new Democratic nominee in the race for Beech Grove mayor. He defeated James Wright. Rick Skirvin ran unopposed on the Republican ballot. In South Bend, Mayor James Mueller will keep running for a second term. He defeated challenger Henry Davis Jr. for the Democratic nomination. Desmond Upchurch ran unopposed in the Republican race. In Fort Wayne, Mayor Thomas Henry cruised to victory again among Democrats with nearly 80% of the vote. Henry is looking for his fifth term as the city's mayor. He's set to run against Republican Thomas Didier. Didier doubled the vote total of the runner-up. We have made it easy for you to see the results from every race across the state. Find the Your Vote section of wishtv.com, and you can click on this story there. A polling place lockdown interrupted the voting in Indianapolis. Police say a domestic problem led them to look for a man at a home on Normandy Road, not far from IPS School 61. As officers searched the home, the school went into lockdown. Officers say they did not find the man at the house, and the school and polling place reopened within about 2 hours. Today, 25 days ahead of the Indy 500, the waving of a ceremonial green flag on Monument Circle. The circle will be filled with race fans, local vendors, and a few special guests. Wink, wink, possibly some drivers. It's all happening just south of the circle. The pace cars will drive up on Meridian and park where fans can take pictures and even sit inside. Kickoff to May starts at 11 this morning. Will run through 1 o'clock. Staff with the 500 Festival say they start planning these events a year in advance. They are a small but mighty team of 18 full staff members, and throughout the month of May, they have more than 7,000 volunteers. A couple hundred people are expected to take over Monument Circle with different activities. There will be speeches and a 500 Festival Foundation announcement. Also today, the original Farmers Market returns to downtown Indianapolis. It's set to run each Wednesday from 10:30 to 1:30 through October outside City Market. Organizers say you'll find fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, cheeses, baked goods, and spices and herbs. You can use SNAP benefits at the market, and a matching program is available to add to them. Also today, the YMCA of Greater Indianapolis is holding a virtual job fair. The nonprofit wants to fill more than 650 summer positions. It says it'll hire nearly 500 people for day camps. Those positions pay up to $16.50 an hour. The YMCA is also looking for 150 to 200 people to lifeguard. Those positions pay up to $15 an hour. And Montana State Representative Zoe Zephyr will not be able to return to the House floor. A judge handed down the ruling yesterday. Attorneys for the state had asked the judge to reject the transgender lawmaker's attempt to return. Zephyr's colleagues barred her from the floor after she accused them of having blood on their hands for opposing gender-affirming care for children. Zephyr calls the ruling entirely wrong.
When I was elected, I vowed to represent my constituents here in the People's House. And what we've seen is that the Speaker and the Republican supermajority took away my ability to represent my constituents, and in doing so, took away their right to representation.
Yesterday's ruling came just hours before lawmakers wrapped up their biennial session. Attorneys for a former NFL star say he's ready to plead guilty to charges from a deadly drunk driving crash. Police say Henry Ruggs III drove up to 127 miles an hour while under the influence ahead of the wreck in November of 2021. The collision killed 23-year-old Tina Tinter and her dog. Ruggs is set to appear in district court next week to plead guilty to charges of DUI resulting in death and vehicular manslaughter. It's part of a plea deal that will bring Ruggs a 3 to 10-year sentence if a judge accepts it. The former police officer who held back bystanders while his colleagues restrained George Floyd has been convicted of aiding and abetting manslaughter. Total was the last of 4 former officers facing judgment in state court in Floyd's killing. He rejected a plea agreement and let a judge decide the verdict. The judge ruled Tao's actions were objectively unreasonable. Tao now faces up to 4 years in prison on top of the 3.5-year sentence he's already serving on federal charges. Many late-night shows are on pause as thousands of writers in Hollywood walk off the job. They were on the picket lines marching, chanting, and holding up signs yesterday. The Writers Guild of America says 11,500 of its members are participating in the strike. Picketers are asking for more money and more writers per show, better working conditions. The strike marks the first in Hollywood in 15 years. Law enforcement in Texas is thanking the community as a 4-day manhunt for a mass shooting suspect comes to an end. Police arrested Francisco Oropeza yesterday in connection to the deadly shooting of 5 of his neighbors in Cleveland. This happened Friday. Police say Oropeza was found hiding under a pile of laundry in the closet of a home in a nearby town. The county sheriff says Oropeza will be charged with 5 counts of murder. Bond is set at $5 million. Many people in an Oklahoma town are reeling after the discovery of 2 teenage girls and 5 members of one family dead. Police found the bodies at a home in Henrietta, about 90 miles east of Oklahoma City. The discovery came during the search for a 14-year-old Ivy Webster and 16-year-old Brittany Brewer, who had gone missing with a registered sex offender, Jesse McFadden. Authorities found the girls, McFadden and his wife, and their 3 children all dead. Hours before the discovery, McFadden had missed a scheduled court appearance on charges of soliciting a minor. Ivy Webster's father is sharply criticizing authorities who operate the sex offender system, saying they let a monster out. And to business headlines, it's an especially expensive time for people with credit card debt, and the pain will likely only worsen with another Federal Reserve interest rate hike today. The current national average rate on plastic is already more than 20%, which is the highest it's been in decades. Job openings tumbled to the lowest point in nearly 2 years. Layoffs jumped by nearly 250,000 to 1.8 million, the highest level since December of 2020, while the number of new hires were unchanged at 6.15 million, and quits ticked down to 3.85 million from 3.98 million. Gas prices dropped for 7 straight days. Gas prices fell to $3.58 a gallon this week. That's according to data from GasBuddy, bringing the national average to its lowest point in nearly a month. AAA says the current average in central Indiana is $3.45 a gallon, down 11 cents from a week ago. Consumers are expected to go all out for Mother's Day this year, planning to spend a total of $35.7 billion on Mother's Day. The National Retail Federation says plan to spend $274 a person, the highest in the history of the survey, and up from the previous record high of $245 in 2022. Amazon is hosting its Pet Day sale for the second year in a row. The sale is live now, runs through today. Amazon Pet Day is accessible to all shoppers regardless of Prime membership status. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.